Hi everybody, and welcome to Integers by Holistic. I'm just sharing a, a few thoughts that I have had surfacing for me this month, February 2026. Um, Whether you're familiar with the astrological shifts that are happening or not, there's a lot of powerful energy around, and I'm really feeling like I want to share here in this space, here on YouTube, here to my audience. Uh, yeah, what I have been processing as part of my own journey this month in February. So I am part of a Wealth Vibe community. That is the name of the membership. I will link it below, but it's part of a space that I belong to with my mentor, who the intention of this space when it was created was to raise the frequency of the idea of wealth, of what that means, and raising people's mindset around wealth, which obviously encompasses money. And each month in there, we do like a monthly challenge on like a process on different aspects of money manifestation, money belief systems, intuitive processes and practices, and ideas that are both practical and physical, like tangible, but also some have metaphysical and a spiritual theme, or can be turned that way if that's your jam. And in that space, I have done so much over the last maybe 2.5 years that it's been open. I've been in it, and a lot of what I have navigated in the toughest times of my life has come from I've stayed grounded and focused on the big picture and like my divine purpose and plan because of being in that space. I have held my shit together in some of the craziest situations I've faced in my adult life in that space, and because of that space and because of that continual reminder that wealth is about so much more than money, and that money, well, in relation to what I want to talk about right now, that money is so much more than the stories we tell ourselves about it. This month, February, we are doing a challenge called For the Love of Money. Because, February, month of love, all that jam. Last year, same challenge was ran. I didn't take part in it because I just moved. I literally moved on, I think it was like 29th or 30th of January 2025. And I was doing a lot of running around, still finishing in my in our old house, and then prepping and trying to get things in some sort of order in the new house. And that's all part of what I've been navigating for this last 15 to 18 months. So I used that as my reasons for, it's one of the you challenges that I've not took part in last February. Each day during the 21 days of the challenge, we sort of like share our experience and what we've been doing, and we share our progress, and we share any insights, and we share any challenges, and we're sort of like mentored and supported, or we have like connections within the community space where we'll like share like similarities between our experiences, and those are like lived experiences that brought us to the point that we're in the space with, as well as experiences with the aspects of the challenge that we may have found more difficult or that we're enjoying and things like that. And yeah, I chose last February to not take part consciously. Like, I've just moved. I'm gonna focus on getting like the stuff moved, and I don't even know that I watched like the teaching video on it. I don't know that I paid much attention to it at all. Don't remember really reading what other people's experiences were at the time. I do know that some people found it really super powerful. And some people found it like to be the most potent challenge that they've done in there, the most potent process that they've navigated through. And I was actually quite excited to start this challenge on the 1st of February. Then I watched the instruction video, and the first instruction, the idea is that we kind of connect to the energy of money in a conscious and deliberate way, seeing it as we might do companionship, partnership, relationship of some sort, whether that's like a romantic partner or a mother, father, child relationship, or friendship, business partner type thing. But to see money as something with a energy of its own. So just backtrack a little bit. I'm aware, particularly more so now from doing this process, that just thinking about money brings up a lot for people. That has become more and more apparent as I've got. It's like the 6th of February today, and I've been doing the actions from this process for 6 days, and my mind is blown by what I'm learning about myself, and then also money. So yeah, money, it makes many of us feel uncomfortable. Talking about money makes many of us feel uncomfortable. There is this underlying resentment in society of people who have a lot of money. And then there's like teachings that we may have grown up with, like, I grew up in a Christian household, fundamentalist style, and I knew that the Bible didn't say money is the root of all evil. I know that the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. I'm just giving money a little hug for having said that. But if you look into the like original texts, it's a misrepresentation of what is actually meant by that, what then was interpreted into English as the love of money is the root of all evil, or all sorts of injurious things, as it said in the Bible translation that I grew up with. Then there's thoughts and expressions like money doesn't grow on trees, that we shouldn't, like, that we have to work hard to achieve like a good income type of thing. So that, yeah, it's hard to achieve. There's this hatred and resentment to millionaires, never mind billionaires, like, and I'm not for 1 minute going to defend the darkest, most sinister people on the planet who often tend to rub shoulders with the people who have the most money. But we'll come to that in a minute. Well, maybe 10, 15 minutes. Further on in this discussion, we'll come to that. So yeah, that is underlying for most of us. Most of us have grown up with these thoughts, feelings, even if they didn't get told to us. There's this underlying distrust, dislike, resentment towards money, people who have money, and people who would like to have more money. We don't talk about wages, we don't talk about what our income is, unless, like, I know in mum groups that I'm in, like, when people want to talk about their money situation, they'll post anonymously for all kinds of reasons. They don't want people to know that they're struggling. They don't want people to know they've got money. They don't want people who know them to know their financial situation. And I'm not for 1 minute saying everyone should divulge all their financial information to everybody else. Not at all. God, definitely not. But there is that underlying shame around whether we've got too much, whether we've not got enough. There's just this shame foisted on us by maybe how we were raised, what we were taught to think about money. And that's the energy that we have in our belief system around money. Then that brings us to the fact that at the end of the day, money is a tool that was created to represent wealth, to make transactions, energy exchanges between people easier. And that money, fundamentally, like all things, is just energy. Like the computer I've got in front of me, it's energy. The phone I'm recording this on, it's energy. My bottle of carrier oil that's to the side, it's energy. Matter is energy. It's all just energy. Not like it's not good, it's not bad, it's not evil, it's not virtuous, it's not anything other than atoms, molecules, bits of something held together in a way that we can touch and feel. Or maybe you don't have in touch and feel, and maybe it's just numbers on a screen. Like the way that the world is going at the moment, money is just numbers on a screen. And then those numbers on the screen might be in your bank account, they might be in a bill that someone's telling you that you owe them. They're just numbers. They're a representation of something. We make them mean something about ourselves. If it's the money in our bank account, we make it mean something about ourselves. And I know not everybody does this. I know lots and lots of people don't. On both sides of the spectrum of whether you've got lots of it or not much of it. And there are lots of people in parts of the world who don't have physical money, currency, or don't depend on it in similar ways that maybe we do. In certain parts of the Western world, I know, from talking to people who've gone to less industrialized nations, where more food is grown, where community is a big thing. And that, that can be what we might even term the Western world, in that they've got technology, they've got access to the internet, and they've got like access in and out of the country, and like people do travel around the world from their countries, but they also still have like grassroots knowledge and connection to the land and the planet. So money, we make money mean something about ourselves. We make money mean that we are in a good job, that we are successful, that we are poverty stricken, that we're needy, that we are wealthy and abundant, or that we are completely not. We make that either about ourselves or about other people. And that is highlighted definitely when you look at how people view some of the wealthiest people that they may know or in the world. And I know from my lived experience with millionaires, because shock horror, do you know the likelihood of you actually knowing a millionaire is quite high these days, because more and more people are millionaires. I'm sometimes surprised when it becomes apparent that somebody who I'm talking to is either close to or is a millionaire, because they're just a human. They're just a human like you and me, who are beautiful, because I don't tend to attract dickheads into my world. Who they want to do better in the world. They have these desires to create amazing things for humanity. And there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have that level of wealth, who are doing beautiful things. And the thing is, they're not making a song and dance about it. Every day they do things for people with less than themselves, and they're doing it from here, from their heart, and they are redistributing the wealth in the world for good. Which brings me to what I'm going through in this membership this month. The encouragement was to write a letter to money as the very first step to get to know and get to feel this energy of money in a different way to maybe the numbers on your paycheck, or the numbers in your bank account, or the cost of food at the supermarket. To see money as this deeper energy. Last Saturday, I was here. This is the wellness hub where my therapy room is. I'm setting my therapy room on the floor near the radio where it's nice and warm. There was a retreat event here, and I took part in that as a human design reader, doing mini human design readings. And anyone who facilitates at the event gets a cash payment for taking part in the event. We're paid facilitators. It's a beautiful thing. This is a community interest company, not for profit organisation. So, they support their facilitators just as much as they're supporting the people who come here for events. And I received my payment. My situation currently at home is pretty much payment to payment. We need to use the money that we get to go and fill our food cupboards, or pay for expenses that I have that occur because I'm self-employed, and this room, as it might be a community interest, not a profit organization, but I have to pay rent for the room because they have to pay rent on the building and all the other things that go with it. So like I don't get the room for free. I Obviously, if you are in any way, shape, or form self-employed, have a business, have your own enterprise, you will know things like Zoom cost money. My website is cost money. All of those things. So there have been times in the last couple of years or more where it's literally dependent on, and definitely in the last 12 months, because now my income is only family source of income, while we don't receive any additional support from outside projects, and that doesn't bring substantial income in either. So our family income is me being a holistic therapist and energy healer, any additional little bits that my husband brings in from anything that he is asked to do. And yeah, I was paid my little envelope of cash. One of my daughters was here. She was actually working in the kitchen on the retreat day, and I said on her break, would she take the cash to her dad at home to go and get some shopping. I took some money out of the envelope to go and buy a drink for myself, and came up here. She was in here on her break, uh, to give her the envelope and a shopping list and say, there you go. And I got back into the room and was like, oh shit, I've left my envelope on the bar downstairs. Now, this is a wellness hub. This is not like, when I say bar, it's a coffee bar. But the building was full of people. And I was like, I trusted that it would be there. It was there, by the way. It was there. I wasn't, and it was I'd literally come upstairs and went back down again. But I just was like, oh my goodness, I'm so like, there was almost like this little evil devil on my shoulder that had just like not given that money 1 minute to just be. And then I literally like sent it off to my husband. February the 1st, which was the next day, I'm watching the video and thinking, God, I'm going to write this letter to money. And it was early hours of the morning as well, by the way. It was like 3 a.m. or something. So my sleep is a bit erratic because of some of the stuff that I've got going on at the moment. That's like heavy, anxiety inducing, navigating crazy life stuff. And I sat and thought about this, and I was like, God, I felt like I was some kind of pimp with this money, because I literally took it, got it, left it on the bar, sent it off to my husband to go and buy food with. Like, it was like literally, and I was like, God, that's like really shit. If that was like me or my husband or one of our girls, like, God, that's like really shit. Like really poor behavior. And I wrote this in my letter to money, like I couldn't even write the words dear money easily. I was like, I'm not treating you like something that I care about. I really am not. And that hit quite deeply. And I ended up in this hole, like I've ended up in this hole for the last 6 days, world of looking at how I have been with money, and how I have been in other relationships over the years, including my marriage, including being a mum. Not that I've done anything that bad with like motherhood, or I'm not inclined to go and tell my husband to, go and find some other woman to go and Mm. The words that come in my head is getting jiggy with it. Like, what the fuck, spirit? Okay. But I have been neglectful, not of my children. I'm going to say that really quickly. Like, I've neglected myself, my marriage, friendships, other relationships, because I've made sure that my girls are supported. Mm, Probably the the one relationship I have been most neglectful of over the years since becoming a mum is the relationship I had with myself, which I've done a lot of healing about and around for half of my motherhood life. My eldest nearly 17. It's about 8 years ago that I started doing the inner work and the self nurturing work that is now part of what I teach. And it really highlighted where I have pushed people away, where I have not been grateful for things, and that then like nobody's grateful for what I do for them, but and I'm talking like like close connected relationships, not like my clients love me, my clients adore me, and I do a lot for my clients. um I don't neglect my relationship with my clients either. My girls, my clients, top priorities. But I have neglected my marriage over the years. I have neglected friendships for all sorts of self-told reasons, like not having the energy, not having the money, blaming money again, not having the capacity or the space, or any of that stuff. And as I wrote this letter and then drew on these similarities between how I've been in other aspects of other relationships and money, it just became so apparent that's, I if that was a human relationship and they shied away, and I could draw on similarities between my marriage and other relationships that I've had connections with in the past where I've not said thank you for things because well I that should just be done, and yet also thinking of like times when my husband does things and there's an argument that yeah it's his we're a partnership, we're married, we're both self-employed, there's like a two-way street here, where he should do things and I should do things. But God, do I like it when someone says thank you for me picking me up for them. Like, I don't expect it because, it's part and parcel of being a mum and wife. God, do I love it if someone goes, Mom, that was really good food, thank you. Or, God, I really needed that help and support today, thank you. Or make comment when they've walked in the house and I've, cleaned something or done something. Oh, that looks really good. And when my daughter cleans for us, I thank her for that. I'm like, it makes me feel really good when I walk in the house and it's been cleaned. That's like makes me feel really good. Thank you for that. But if I walk into my husband's wash the pots, I ignore it. Like, wow, yeah, not thanking him nearly enough as I should do. That money when it does show up, I oftentimes shove it out the door as fast as I can because food is more important than money. Sure, food is more important than money, but without the money, I wouldn't have the food. So maybe I should be a little bit more grateful to the money. These were the things that I wrote in the letter that I wrote. And I found just that first day writing that letter so powerful. I was like, I have to keep doing this. I have to keep writing this letter to money. That's not part of the challenge. That's not part of the process. There's like 21 different things you can do. But I'm like, God, it became so apparent why I had found increasing my income to a sustainable level so challenging over the last few years, actually. there's been reasons why it was hard. COVID, um, complications in the building um, where I was based, different situations going on in external life, my dad getting sick, and all of those situations, moving house, 2024, being told we'd have to leave where we were, and all the shenanigans that have been going on since then. And I have just been in this place of, if things don't get better, something horrible is going to happen. But then when there is something that makes things a little bit better, I'm like not as conscious as I could be, not as in my heart as I could be. And I sat then on the 2nd of February with money in this space of like, wow, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know, like, I wrote another letter, like, thinking about, like, I found a note in my phone where I'd written something about, like, the fact that we depend on money in our society to the extent where when we don't have enough, we feel like there's such this internal battle. And I wrote this in this letter, in this note on my phone, and I had written, this was last year sometime, that it was almost like I was in this abusive relationship with money, but I didn't even know who was the abuser. Like, I could actually see then where my actions towards money, the energy of money, were not caring, loving, kind. And obviously, I'm like, well, I'm traumatized. Got my little traumas that I've carried with me for my life that I'm healing from. And that's like, I'm the first one to tell you that trauma is not an excuse for poor behavior. Like, your trauma, a partner's trauma, ex's trauma, a parent's trauma. Trauma is a reason for poor behavior, yeah. But I took responsibility for my behavior in the past to heal from my trauma. And that's self-responsibility. And that is a key thing that I teach. It's a key thing. Ask clients, what role have you played in situations? Often it comes from trauma in their lives. Like, the vast majority of people alive right now have got trauma of some sort. I go so far as to say every adult has got trauma of some sort, and that trauma is not an excuse to be a shit partner, to be a shit mum or a shit dad, to be a shit son or daughter. It's not. Trauma is not an excuse to treat someone that bad. And that was like what I then said to Money on the 2nd was, I don't blame you for not showing up like I need you to, because I don't give you a reason to. And so was the light bulb that Lee brings me here now today to create this video. On the 3rd of February, I said to Money, I don't expect you to show up in the amounts that I really could do with you right now to make everything better in my life. But I'm going to promise that I will treat you better. I will be more fair, more conscious. I will stop spending money in places and doing things that are not part of the higher frequency that I'm here to create in the world. I boycotted Nestle as a company for 17 years, 16 years. Started when my eldest was about 4 months old. So 16 and a half years. I'm like consciously aware that some companies and like I don't buy disposable fashion, cheap fashion. I don't shop on Temu and Prime, and I don't shop in Primark. I don't buy cheap clothing. I don't like I've bought my girls handmade clothing. I have bought things that are um like I've given the energy of money in good places. When I lived in before I moved here, where I lived up until a year ago, it's a very indie town, very independent shop town. I shopped there in a more ethical supermarket and the local shops. I shopped there. That was what I did. That was where I shopped, and I've chosen more ethical places to put my money for years. And I said to money, like, that's what I'd like to do. Like, if you come to me in increasing amounts, that's what I'd like to do. But I don't expect you to show up in the amounts that that takes, because we all know that, there's a big difference between a £3 something or other off Temu and a £50 something from a more ethically sourced space. We also know the quality in the two is very often, the 50 quid one is worth 50 quid for a reason. The Temu one is going to fall apart a week down the line. And, before anyone jumps in the comments going, I got stuff in Temu that's lasted ages. Yeah, okay, cool. As somebody who has been an independent creator, with working with people in independent spaces where knitting patterns have been ripped off by AliExpress or other cheap fashion outlets. That's not okay. Like, as an independent artist, as an independent creator, like, it's not okay that mega corporations steal people's designs and ideas and then sell them on the cheap so that the creators basically lose out, because you can never hand make something as quick as a machine can do it. Well, that's a whole other argument, really. I could go on for that for an hour too. I was like made this agreement with money. Look, I will think consciously about where every penny goes that I spend if you can start to show up more consistently. And I don't expect 500 quid immediately. Kind of crazy, really. But can we make a deal at around 50 quid a day, £50 a day, so that I can start to show you, prove this is a relationship of trust. And but I also don't blame you for not showing up. And then I need to sit and hold that if you don't show up. Tuesday. This was Tuesday. Money showed up completely out of the blue, completely unexpectedly. Email inquiry. I'd like a gift voucher. Do you do gift vouchers? Yeah, I do gift vouchers. Here's my payment link. Paid. Boom, boom, bam. Wow. 50 quid. That's my quickest manifestation of money ever, I think. Yesterday, day 5, do the maths now. No, it was day 4 that happened. Yeah, day 4 that happened. And I actually allowed that money to stay in my Stripe account overnight. I was like, it's not going anywhere. I'm not going shopping with it now. I'm going to sit with it because I've promised money back. However, money, there are things that I need you for that I need to spend you on. Also, I was aware that I had a big invoice being paid that I immediately had to pay my room rent from. So I was like, also, I need you to know that when that comes in, when I pay it back out quickly, it's not because I don't appreciate you. It's not because I don't value you. It's because I also value my room. And that enables me to keep doing what I'm doing that brings more revenue to me. And then on top of that, my daughter, her her when she gets paid, because she's only got an under 18's bank account, it can't be paid from a bank account. So that is also paid to me and I pay her. So then yesterday, so that was like day four, I got £50. Yesterday there was like four, five, I can't math, 6, 7 times that much came through my bank account. Wow. And I sat there with money going, wow, I didn't expect that on some level. Like I did, but I also didn't. Like I had promised money that I wouldn't sit there going, you've not shown up yet. Why? Because I'm not a dependent, not codependent anymore. I'm not being like needy and desperate anymore. Um, and yeah, I sat and thanked money for showing up so much, and then explained, like, I have to pay my room rent, I have to pay my daughter her wages because they're her wages, and I won't go off and spend you in the places that I know you don't want to go. This brings me to the real reason why I felt called to make this video today, and that is I the last 2 nights I have gone into a meditative state and spoken to money about how money feels, about how it's treated. And in that meditative state, I heard from money how painful it is to be treated by people like it's money's fault that shit is wrong in the world. And last night, when I was doing this last night, or rather at like 3 a.m. today, I could feel the pain in my heart where money hurts because of how people blame money for what people do. And I got the very clear message that money amplifies the energy of a person, of an individual. Money amplifies the energy of who receives it. Money amplifies any emotion that's prevalent in somebody. That's huge. Because that takes the blame off money for where there's corruption and greed in the world, and puts it squarely on the shoulders of the greedy, corrupt people. And those of us, and there are many of us, many, many, I, go so far as to say billions of people would like to see better in the world. And I'd go so far as to say that millions are actually doing it now. Yeah. They are doing what they can with what they have to create better in the world. And the more money flows through our hands when we are being conscious, when we are creating something that's in alignment, the more beauty and wonder money can bring. And money, all the time, I've been holding a penny. Money, this isn't the right penny. I've got a penny to apologise to at home, but I have a penny at home that I found on the floor on the first in my bathroom. Probably fell out of one of the girls' pockets. And I picked up and went, in line with what I've written and said to you today, you are going to be my special penny. Yeah, I left it at home. It's purposely to be at home, really, but I did mean to bring that penny with me today for the purpose of this. But this is another penny that I happen to have in my purse because I got it in my change. So, and I've been holding that whole time. When I quoted the Bible earlier, where it says, the love of money is the root of all sorts of injurious things, I just gave this a little bit of an extra love because that's not true. And it actually hurts me now to say those words, even just to quote the Bible, because money was created to represent something beautiful. At the end of the day, money was created mostly. First of all, if we go back to ancient times with coins, when coins were made out of precious metals, and they were like the weight of the metal, that was the value of them, and that's where some of our descriptions for denominations of money comes from. But what kind of really took me about the penny is, like, in my country, this is the smallest value coin that you can get. It's a penny. People walk past them on the streets, don't really care about them. If you've ever done any money manifestation processes or work out anything, you'll start picking these things up and giving them a little kiss. But do you mean it? Are you just like, oh, I've got to pick that one up because another one will come, or something more will come? Because I've done that, definitely. My girls find notes on the street. Like, I have found notes on the street, don't get me wrong. Like, I found £10 notes and £20 notes and fivers, and but oftentimes when I found a penny and picked it up and given it that little, like, subjective air kiss, it's been more about, I do that just because I'm moral from it. So I lay and did a meditation with this penny, not this penny, but a penny, to really deepen that connection with the energy of money. And it doesn't, like, money doesn't want to be treated like it's at fault for where there's poverty in the world. Something that has the potential and the power to feed the world has been treated like shit, and is treated like shit. And it flows into the hands of people who treat other people like shit. And if you're here to raise the frequency of the planet, if you're here to raise the frequency of yourself, and we all are here, if you're here to see a brighter world for future generations, it could be really beneficial to start seeing this as the power to create that, and as the energy to create that through your energy. If you're at a place where you'd like more of it to come. So they're my thoughts and they're my feelings. And I had so many just massive downloads came today while I was in this conversation with money about where I had held things back because for some reason I was still blaming money for my not being able to do it. I'm creating this video now because I have been holding back from something that I have known was right in front of me, but didn't know what it was. And that is putting these thoughts into the world. The ideas, the inspiration, my experiences, my story, and the things that I have done to help myself through some of the toughest experiences in life. And to be able to realize that it's as simple as making a video and not sitting waiting for something outside of me to make things better. And that's, I know this already, but it sort of really dropped in today. And so find your smallest denomination coin, make it a symbol of what your hopes and dreams are. And treat it like your best friend to help you reach them. And maybe have one in the office and one at home, because I feel very bad if I lost either of them now. Interestingly, the money that I misplaced on Saturday on the bar, the change that I got from buying drinks for my daughter and I before we left, I gave to her. She lost it. Yeah, she lost it, and that also felt like, wow, just not that she did anything carelessly at all. It was very interesting because I've always been of the opinion for a long time, if I lose money, because I found like money on the streets, I've been of the opinion for years now that if I lose some money, if it was a note, it wasn't a note, it was a couple of pounds, but like if I drop money somewhere, a couple of quid, a fiver, a tenner, even a 20, it's like somebody's going to find that and that's going to make their day. Because when I found 20 quid, it has made my fucking day. When I found a bloody quid, it's made my day on occasion. Like I have cried when I found a pound on the street before now, 20p. Like I have cried finding money on the street before now because it's exactly what I needed at the time. Money's shown up for me like that. Instant manifestation of 20p. Exactly what I needed to buy pasta. I might have told that story sometime. If not, I'll tell it again, but not now. So yeah, I am very confident that money is going to continue showing up for me. I told money today, like, you showed up a lot yesterday. You are like absolutely like money needs to trust me now to not freak out for not showing up today, because like She more than showed up for me yesterday in way more ways than I expected. And I know that there is more coming already because I know that I have things that people will be paying me in the next day or two. And there's regular money that comes in. I know it's and it's like I've not felt this level of peace within myself associated with money possibly ever, or if not ever, since I used to get a regular paycheck. Um, Gosh, not even before I had kids, because my last my last um, paid employment before my eldest was born was pretty hit and miss um, at some points because it was agency healthcare stuff, and there would be lower months than others. Let's just say that. So I think we'd be talking maybe 20 to 22 years ago. That was the last time that I definitely knew always I was going to get paid at the end of the week. So yeah, and even then, there was money stuff hanging over me. But even though there's a lot hanging over me at the moment, I feel like I trust money to show up and help me more than I ever have. And hopefully I'll reciprocate that. And money can trust me to not leave her on the bar or put, use her in places where she doesn't really want to go without conversation, because the world is still what it is, and there's still some places that end up being used. But again, as far as it is possible, I've boycotted bloody Nestle for 16 and a half years. I can increase the boycotts. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you for listening. And I'll drop some links below, including Taylor's Wealth Vibe and Soul Wellness Hub, where I am, and my links if you would like to explore any of this with me. I have created enough to support you on your wealth journey, to support you on your healing journey, to support you on your emotional clearing process, to create the life that you love and nurture your soul to do whatever it is here to do. So much love. Keep shining, and I will see you all very soon. And don't forget your penny.